What's up, everybody? Signal here. Today I want to talk a little bit about reverb bass, stereo bass, why we mono out the sub-region specifically, and how we can go about handling all of this and when we should think about this stuff, okay? So this is going to be real fast because it is beginner stuff. So if you want to hear a very good reverb bass, I will put it over my face right here. That wasn't supposed to rhyme, but it is the Twin Peaks theme. So the rule is more of a mixing rule than a sound design rule, right? The mixing rule is you don't want to double up on your subregion if you're trying to stop it from phasing out of place. In sound design world, we can make a respace and it phases out of place all the time. But a stereo effect uses two channels. So even if we do make a low end res, we still put that in mono because it's in a single channel. I'm holding this pin. So I typically keep span in dual mono mode. It is here, right there. I think I got this from the SEPA producer tech class, but you can do this in Bitwig or another analyzer by just, this one isn't doing it. You want one on left, one on right, like that. Okay, and then the left is going to be your mono. That's just kind of the way it's communicated. So before we get into bass design, let me just use a pad to play with stereo stuff a little bit in front of you. I'll unmute it. You can see I have it monoed out with this, okay? So that's the pad. And here's my pan, okay? I can use the left as mono and the right to pan it. See, the blue is my right. The orange is my side. Likewise, I could go left, right, and then just do the same thing span is doing. Okay. So let me turn that off. Here I can do it with the tool. All right. And then here, I have it split. So the high end just has the original stereo, and the low end is monoed out. Something to consider here is that the fundamental matters. So if you have a, let's say like a string section where there's a low end fundamental here, but there's really nothing playing down here, then a little bit of reverb going up like that, it can be stereo, it doesn't matter, because the fundamental is up here and it's spreading out from that area. Whereas if the fundamental is here, it's a little harder to like work into place, and it's a lot more realistic if this is like not reverberated, but it is reverberated up here, especially if this is like an initial impact. So it's like a solid impact and then reverb or delay or chorus or something like that up here. All right. So sometimes with those two things in mind, you can see like a break where there's no bass, have some stereo down here because there's like a string section, right? And then as the bass comes in, the string section has to clear away a little bit to make way for the fat bass ravey sub, okay? But if you don't have that element, you can treat this a little differently, but you still don't want to like start stacking channels below 180 hertz. Like it doesn't work for you in the engineering department, okay? And you might say, "Oh, I want to be really creative," but it's just that's not what this is. It's more like if this is like the engineer telling you not to record in a tunnel with wind and you decide to do it anyways. Like it's just not going to work out in your favor, all right? So let's just open up Serum real quick. I'll turn this off. 5 voices. Play with the detuning, right? So we have stereo information. Everything above about here is fine. For deep drum and bass, this is like a really good region. This is why I'm directing you towards that Twin Peaks theme song, because that bass, the reverb tonality is very interesting, very haunting, and I think it can transfer over to that like 120 delay D and B sound really well. So I usually do this in my DAW just because it's easier with bitwig. You just need some way to mono out the lows. So we can say mono bass, and then watch this. See that right there, that blue? It's going to disappear as I go up. All right, too far up. I want more stereo. So is it in my subregion a little too much? I don't like using Serum for this. Bitwig is better. There we go. Pretty good. Okay, so let's take this up a notch. I'm going to show you a bass I have for this track. Let's pull up Serum. Let me solo this bass out. See the stereo information? There's nothing here, but I'm using a splitter to put a chorus up here, okay? And I'm putting a little bit of delay with the chorus up in the higher mid-range, all right? And then I have this garagey, old school type bass. Could use some glide. Okay, I did that up here too. So I forgot to take the stereo out of the low end pretty much, and that's what I'm doing here. This is empty. Low end, mono right here. See, no width. If this is somewhat confusing to you, just like go under a bridge or something and throw some rocks around, and then like all the echoes, that's your reverb. It's as simple as that. Okay, that's all for a day, everyone. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Check out the Patreon. Maybe check out the Patreon shop if you need some bass samples. And I will see you next time.